I like to describe my AFib as similar to having a jack in the box for a heart. You know, at some point, it's going to go off. You're just never sure when. Welcome to today's podcast, where we'll be discussing the relationship between anxiety and heart arrhythmias, like atrial fibrillation, supraventricular tachycardias or SVTs, and atrial flutter. These heart problems can have a significant impact on your quality of life, often leading to or worsening your anxiety. So today we will explore the reasons behind this anxiety and how each of the following can contribute to it: the physical manifestation of arrhythmias, emotional reaction to arrhythmia issues, and social factors. All of these contribute to a complex relationship.
Welcome to Season 1 of Cardiac Conversations, the must-listen video-audio podcast for all things heart health from a patient's perspective. Let's grab our headsets and join our host, Big Northern Bear, as he explores game-changing insights or personal experiences with experts and individuals who have faced cardiac challenges. Don't miss out on the key knowledge that could transform your understanding of cardiovascular health. Now get your headphones on. Let's start this week's show.
I'm your host, Big Northern Bear. I have paroxysmal atrial fibrillation, which I keep under control with a whole lot of lifestyle measures and a little bit of medicine. I myself have a history of anxiety and continue to work to overcome it. I will share some of that here with you today. Before we start unraveling the complex relationship between arrhythmia and anxiety, let's wrap some numbers around this conversation. I think it's important we all understand just how many people this affects. Atrial fibrillation, or AFib, is the most common form of heart arrhythmia. It is estimated that around 38 million people worldwide are affected by AFib. This has increased a whopping 33% in the past 20 years. It's about 1 in every 200 people. Supraventricular tachycardia, the prevalence of which in the general population is not well established, but some studies suggest it totals around 8 to 16 million people worldwide affected by SVTs. Atrial flutter is less common than AFib. Prevalence of atrial flutter is estimated to be around 0.1 to 0.2% of the general population. This would mean about 1.5 million people worldwide are affected by atrial flutter, considering the current global population. Let's talk about the physical sensations that accompany arrhythmias. Things like palpitations, chest pain, shortness of breath, dizziness, and fatigue. It's no surprise these symptoms can be alarming, causing individuals to worry about their heart health. Moreover, these episodes can occur unexpectedly, leaving individuals feeling a lack of control over their own condition. This unpredictability can cause anxiety, as you never know when you might experience an episode or how severe it will be. I like to describe my AFib as similar to having a jack in the box for a heart. You know, at some point, it's going to go off. You're just never sure when. And when we talk about these conditions, there's always a fear of severe health complications. In the case of AFib, you may be concerned about the increased risk of stroke, heart failure, or other life-threatening conditions. Similarly, SVT and atrial flutter can lead to complications such as fainting, and in rare cases, sudden cardiac arrest. This fear of severe health consequences can exacerbate anxiety. Moving on to some emotional factors that come into play when dealing with these heart conditions, a major aspect is the emotional toll chronic illness itself takes upon you. Living with a chronic health condition can take significant emotional toll. Those of us with AFib, SVT, and atrial flutter may feel overwhelmed by the need to constantly monitor our symptoms, take medications, make lifestyle changes. This emotional burden can lead to anxiety and a decreased sense of well-being. After I first came home with AFib, I was constantly checking my pulse. It was nearly obsessive. I needed to constantly reassure myself that I was not back in AFib. I had noticed now I had some weird, uneven heartbeats, and I always felt like I had to catch them in the act. I'd feel palpitations in my chest and immediately check my pulse to reassure myself I was not going back into AFib. I wonder, my friends, if you found yourself doing similar things. Feelings of vulnerability and loss of control, I'm told, are quite common. Those of us with heart problems often feel vulnerable as we confront the reality of our own mortality. This feeling of vulnerability can lead to a sense of powerlessness and a loss of control, which can contribute to anxiety. Also, the effect of anxiety on our heart health cannot be ignored. Anxiety itself can have negative effects on our heart, leading to a vicious cycle. Increased anxiety can trigger or exacerbate arrhythmias, which in turn can heighten anxiety levels. This is a feedback loop. can make life challenging and make it difficult for individuals to manage their conditions and maintain a sense of emotional stability. Personally, I have employed cognitive behavioral therapy online, and it was immensely helpful. I still have anxiety, but I deal with it so much better, and I can recognize now in real time that my thought process is catastrophizing and unrealistic. Lastly, discussing some social factors that contribute to anxiety, especially around arrhythmias. There's a stigma surrounding people with heart health problems, and this can be a major factor. You may feel judged or isolated or misunderstood due to your heart problems, leading to feelings of shame and anxiety. Furthermore, living with AFib, SVT, or flutter can strain relationships with your family and your friends. You may not feel fully understood, and they may not understand the challenges faced by you with your heart problems. Social activities might get limited. You and your heart conditions may need to avoid certain triggers, such as alcohol or excessive physical exertion. This can result in feelings of isolation and further anxiety, an effect I call arrhythmia loneliness. I've addressed this loneliness we often feel due to our condition in a YouTube video that I'll link in the description. This is a big reason I started putting my thoughts out on YouTube and now in podcasts. When I went to the movie Avatar, the sequel, it stood out to me that the Na'vi have a way of addressing each other that goes beyond the physical. When someone in the tribe does something that shows their true potential and their true heart, another member of the tribe will look upon them and say, "I see you." It doesn't mean I see you standing before me. It means I see your full being. I now understand who you are inside, and I'm connecting to that. When I talk to someone else with AFib, that's how I feel. I feel like they see me, and I think they feel like I see them. We become instant friends and can talk for hours. It's a wonderful thing and very therapeutic. With all the stuff we talked about going on, as if we don't have enough going on, the medications we need to treat our conditions can have their own impact on mood, energy levels, and feeling of well-being. Sometimes the medications can just turn your life inside out. Beta blockers make you feel weak and dizzy. Diuretics can leave you feeling like you always need to be close to the bathroom. You can find yourself having to relearn all the rules of your body again and wondering where the old you went. And finally, the financial burden of managing heart health can also contribute to anxiety and isolation. Medical treatments, prescription medications, surgeries, lifestyle changes can all be costly, putting pressure on you and your family. Financial stress can exacerbate anxiety related to your heart health and perpetuate that cycle. In conclusion, the anxiety experienced by those of us with AFib, SVTs, tachycardias, flutters is complex and multifaceted. Physical sensations, emotional factors, and social challenges all play a role in contributing to this anxiety. By understanding and being aware of these things and working to address them, patients, healthcare providers, and loved ones can better assist to manage the anxiety associated with these heart conditions. Through education and support and appropriate treatment, such as cognitive behavior therapy, we can work towards improving our quality of life and breaking the vicious cycle of anxiety and heart arrhythmias. For me, being able to reach out to others with my condition on YouTube, podcasts, and social media has made me feel so much less alone and so much more accepting of myself. When I talk to someone who shares my condition, I feel as if I'm truly at last being understood, like they see me and I see them. I would encourage you to find people to talk to who share your condition. It can make a real difference. Well, this has been my first episode of Cardiac Conversations and my first true podcast. I hope you found it worth your time and I've earned your subscription. Thank you for joining me today in this exploration of the complex relationship between heart health and anxiety. This is your friend, Big Northern Bear, out.